Today is Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 47, Week 2.
This episode's titled Epic Boss Girl Move. I was just sure that was Anika.
I said Sue, and you said, no, she wouldn't say girl.
Yeah, I was wrong.
You were.
Hey, we got our previously on Survivor. Recap the Tuku bromance and TK catching Gabe doing some idol hunting and key finding. And then Gabe ends up with his 3x power idol. Cut over to Lavo, and Rome gets busted diving into the well. And then bouncing over to Gata, Andy is convinced that his tribe does not like him, but we get a little more insight into how John was the target all along, I thought, in this previously on clip. You can see it a lot clearer amongst the four. And John's out. Okay, do we go to Gata right after the previously on? No, we bounce to Lavo. That's unusual.
Yeah, you commented on it right away.
Usually you get that post-tribal reaction, but no such play this time. Rome tells us that morale is through the roof. He has the key, he's got the box, and he had to hide the box in the dark.
Well, but that seems like that's about as clued in as he is.
Yes, there were...
finding that.
This episode was not kind to Rome.
No.
It did not show him in the most positive light. What did you think about his decision to go back and tell Teeny to drag her out?
It surprised me.
Yeah, it caught me completely off guard.
I think it surprised her too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think anybody grabbing you in the middle of the night like that, where it's all dark, and then taking you out there to show you where the box with the idol supposedly is.
Yeah, I don't know that he needed to show her where the box was, but I'm not sure he would do that again since...
Teeny tells us, well, he was my target, but that's never easy in Survivor, is it? I like that commentary. That was good.
Well, maybe she could work with him.
Yeah, got to work with him. But what does she do?
She tells Kishan.
Yes. Wow. That was something that she even took him over to where it was hidden to prove it, to show it.
And they opened it.
Yeah, and started reading it and then got busted by Rome.
Yeah, and they just didn't really react that much, did they?
She thinks that she talked her way out of that. That didn't seem like it came off that way.
Not so much. I guess he let her think that a little bit, but yeah, no.
Rome seemed to cover it pretty well. He just said, well, I'll play this at the first tribal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to take it good for one tribal, and I'll play it at the first one we go to make sure I stay.
Yeah, and there went any plans they might have had to get rid of him first.
Well, there's always what someone says and then what they do, and we know how greedy, and people get about idols, and they had just come off watching the people in 46 make that mistake over and over again as they got voted out with idols in their pockets.
Did they, though? Did they really watch that, or just doesn't seem like maybe they did?
Okay, bouncing over to Blue, over to Tuku.
And they're trying to catch a crab.
Yeah, Gabe ends up catching a nice big crab. Not enough meat for everyone, obviously.
Say it didn't look that big to me, but
yeah.
They're probably used to seeing little teeny ones out
scampering
on the beach,
around,
so,
yeah. And then we see Gabe and TK and Kyle talking out at the beach.
Yeah, but he tells us how Kyle is his number one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he acknowledges that Gabe's erratic, but they need him for 3, and they need Tiyana for a 4.
Well, they said he was initially the final 3, but they didn't think they could trust him.
Mm-hmm.
So they all, that's one reason they talked to Tiyana.
Yeah.
And they wanted to bring her in.
She
and
was
work with her.
surprised.
Yeah, but I think Kyle's the one that sold it because she seemed to like him.
Yeah.
And she wasn't nearly as receptive to TK.
Right. She said she saw longevity,
Or Gabe.
got good vibes, and could see a long-term alliance with Kyle. So, yeah, you're right. Kyle was really the anchor that he sold her on that. She was happy to be part of the bromance. Finally over to Gata. Andy's telling us that he survived. He described it as a brush with death, and he sees an opportunity for himself now in the game, and he's so happy they're including him.
Yes, that was painful to watch.
Oh, that was total cringe. I got sad again. I watched the video of Andy, the before the season started video, where he was talking about his sister got taken by domestic violence, and now he was looking to be a role model for. This is before the game began, before he had the collapse on day 3. And everything went south for him. And it just made me so sad watching him think that he was going to be significant in the context of the game like that. And that he might be a role. I guess maybe it might still have value. There's always teachable moments in the good and the bad.
Yeah, sure.
But it just made me sad again because of him. So then to watch this where they're doing what he wanted, which is they're cheering for him as he opens
and it's
a coconut.
Obviously making him happy.
Yes, he's delighted. He's like gleeful.
But, he's going to see everything. That's what's tripping me up. I can't pull myself out of his life enough, he's someone that's playing Survivor. It's like I'm concerned about Andy the person and what this will do to him.
They like me. They really like me.
And then seeing the things they're saying and, Anyway.
Rachel tells us he wants to be included, and we want an easy boot. It's a match made in Survivor.
And they won his brawn.
And they were cheering for him as he opened it. And that's where we got the line in Next Time on Survivor from Anika, where she said what Anika sees is a toxic, clingy boyfriend pattern in Andy.
Yeah. But that's the thing, too. Every time that happens, I don't know how he's going to handle it.
Well, maybe he won't perceive things that way, because he obviously perceives things in a different way.
Yeah, I just have to hold on to the fact that he said he has a good support system on the outside of the game. And
otherwise, sometimes it seems too sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see Anika, Rachel, and Sierra going off doing something, searching for idols, I think. Yeah. And Sam tells us that he is on Andy duty. He is to babysit Andy.
Well,
to make sure he doesn't get
didn't he?
doesn't spiral again. He tells us that he wants to be a buoy for Andy, so Andy will count on him, trust him. And then he made a fatal mistake. He left him alone. And what does Andy tell us? He immediately started spiraling again. And then he hops up and goes out hunting for the advantage, which he had asked Sam earlier. Sam, should I go look for the beware advantage? Sam said no.
Why? So, he really seems to trust Sam. Mm-hmm. But why?
Well, when you give something to someone who desperately wants it, which is attention, focus, positive affirmation, he's getting all those things. Sierra told him that was the best coconut opening she had ever seen. Oh. So he's riding on a high, I think, at this point.
Okay, that's...
Hey, to his credit, he finds a beware advantage.
Yeah.
Weighs the risk.
And leaves it.
And decides, he tells us, to do something different. So he put it back where it needed to be, where it had been.
But then he changed his mind again later on. Okay, let's go over to Lavo and on day 4 and
Aysha tells us that the camp supplies are being put to good use.
Yep, that they had done so much with nothing the first 3 days, and now they've got all this stuff to use. Mm-hmm. That would be very different because you kind of adapt to what's happening, and it seems like that's just the way it's always been, and even in a short amount of time sometimes when you got a lot of change happening.
Yep, and then here comes Rome.
Oy.
He's a bit much. And he's telling everyone that he asked him, "Did you practice making fire?" And he said, "I practice every day, and my record was 16 seconds." Which is important, I'm so glad they included that. Because then it cuts to Kishan doing the commentary, and he tells us that Rome he's a showman.
Yep.
He's all about flashy moves, whereas Kishan wants to stay under the radar. Now balance that with what Kishan does next.
But he couldn't do it.
Right. That's what I was driving at.
Do it. He had to show him up.
So we get a montage of Rome failing at starting fire, not way over 16 seconds, and not able to get fire started at all. And Kishan does it in, I think it was 5 seconds.
Like 5 seconds.
Yeah. So 3 times faster than Rome's best.
Yeah. It didn't seem to dampen Rome's enthusiasm, though.
Well,
I mean, maybe momentarily,
they are making a huge conscious choice not to show him as being perceived in any kind of a positive light, because Saul tells us he is a lot. And so Saul's a man of few words.
He's so cocky. He's so this.
That's what Teeny said. He was just really cocky. And then we get a montage of Rome saying all these things that he's going to do. He's going to be a rapper. Was going to be in the NBA, but he wasn't tall enough. And And then he starts to rap, and it reminded me. And he fails, and then he tries to cover because he can't come up with any flow, any verses. And one of the producers pre-season asked him to call a Survivor challenge, since he said he wanted to take Jeff's job, and he did the same kind of thing where he said,
"No, I have to prepare for that."
2 or 3 things, and then flubbed it, which they're showing us. This is the Rome pattern.
Yeah, but I'm sure he's done other things. This is just the character they're choosing to have him be. Mm-hmm. That's why they show all those things, but he does do them for them to show. So there is that.
Teeny sums him up in her confessional. She tells us he's annoying, but he has an idol.
That's right.
that's
Otherwise, he'd be the first one out. Okay, back over. Anika and Sam search for idols so Andy won't get it.
Well, first, Sam tells Anika, so he confesses right away. He said, "Andy got away from me." And then, what was it? They grabbed up the canteens, and they said that they were going to go get water for everyone.
For everyone, so they could go off together.
Yeah, so we get a montage of them hunting. Sam's talking about how it's a massive island. It's no easy task.
And he finds it.
Yeah, when she's saying, I don't think it's in this area, and he reaches up and pulls it down. And Anika says, so this tells you kind of where she is. She says, "Thank God I was there."
Well, and immediately this makes him an even bigger threat.
Mm-hmm.
So she was already looking at him as a threat. But she searched with him.
Right. So real quick, they cut back to Rachel and Andy back at camp. Andy's telling us, "I really like the water in the well," which I've heard that described as a barrel with a trash bag in it that they pour the fresh water in, and then lizards crawl in there and die. Well, so sometimes it's not the best water.
TMI.
And then Rachel goes, "Yeah, I'm thirsty." So I was thinking, oh, they're setting it up. They're gonna find them.
I hope they're gonna get back soon. I'm really thirsty.
Right. So Anika ends up finding the rope that they've got to untie to get the key, but it's got so many knots in it they're gonna have to wait. And Sam was worried because he found all that with Anika, so he goes and tells Sierra, gets her up to speed, and tells her that he's bummed that Anika knows. Again, this is telling you more about where Anika stands. But
they're already grouping Anika and Rachel. So they're like, she's going to go right away and tell her.
Cut to Anika telling Rachel. And I loved Sam's, the way they put this together. So this is super positive for Sam.
Yeah.
He goes, "Wow, I got to do damage control with Rachel." I loved how he did this. He went to her and he said, "I need your help." So he really pulled her in, and that's such a classic line.
Well, and they were all really buying it. I thought unless the 3 ladies talk, and talk about how he took
Compare
on
notes.
each one. Yes.
Right.
And, oh, you're special. I need you for this. Or
I need your help. Yeah.
I need you.
So glad you're here to help with these knots.
But he had that moment with all three of them, which could get you in even more trouble.
Or he could get him the win.
It could,
Yeah.
if he doesn't get found out.
Okay, so knowing about the Beware advantage is burning a hole in Andy's noggin. So he's like, I gotta go back. I'm gonna go get it. And then he panics because it's gone. His
It's
safety
like,
net is gone, he tells us.
Which limb did I put it on?
Yeah.
Where is it? It's got to be here. I know that feeling. Had my
Cut.
car stolen once, and I was like, no, I know I parked it here.
Right. Cut to Sam and Rachel actually getting the key, finishing up with all those knots. And so they have the key, and Andy tells us he is not feeling well. He needs to reach out to Sam. And we get to see Sam acting. What did you think? How did you think Sam did?
Oh, he did good enough for Andy, and that's all that mattered.
Well, he kind of used an old actor's trick where when you have to feel some emotion that you put a rock in your shoe and that helps you react better. It turns out he had the key in his sock, he said. So maybe that helped with his emoting and convincing Andy that he...
Well, what it did was convince Sam that, hey, maybe I can trust Andy.
Yeah, worked, cut both ways, didn't
Of course, it might backfire, but for that moment, it makes him, hey, he does trust
Andy's
me.
convinced one of the girls found the Beware advantage. But on
That's
the plus side, this
likely
is
to backfire
building
too.
trust with Sam. Yep.
Okay, back over to Tuku, and Gabe's chatting with Sue and Caroline. He thinks they're little wounded birds on the bottom.
Oh, yeah, this was great. This was in response to a discussion he was having, right, with that he gets brought into when they were talking about TK was telling Tiyana and Kyle and Gabe that Sue adds nothing. So we're going to target her because they were trying to figure out if they lost, who were they going to focus on since they had the majority.
Yeah, and that she can't contribute as much.
Yeah, so Gabe, like you said, pivots right off of this and goes to Sue and Caroline. And in particular, he needs to build that alliance with Caroline. He had a bridge with Sue, so he needs to build up that relation with Caroline. What did you think about her reaction?
She is rightfully skeptical.
Yes.
However, once he pulls out the idol and shows it to her,
She gets on board.
Totally.
She almost flubbed it, though. It wouldn't cost her anything to jump right on him and be on board with him instead of balking the way that she did.
Yeah, but that's just, would he believe her
closed the
as
deal.
much? I mean, obviously they've already seen that's like part of her personality. So if she hadn't done that, would he have felt that it was more fake than her questioning? Mm-hmm. But obviously she changed her mind, and
he didn't completely flush her because she didn't jump on board.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Well, with 6 people, they only have so far to go.
Got to work a little harder before you walk away from one.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So what did you think of his proclamation at the end of that sequence? Like you said, his little birds.
I don't remember what did he say?
I'll beat them in a final 3. This is why he's collected them.
Yeah, don't count on it, dude. But at that part, no. I guess I ignored it because I didn't write it down at all.
Okay.
It's like,
Bouncing back over to Blue to Tuku, and we see Kyle talking to Sue and asking her how's it going, and Sue says she needs a nap, which I have become fond of naps myself at 58. She's 59. I know from which this comes.
I will sleep any chance I get. And having only gotten 2 hours last night
Yeah.
and no nap today, no time.
Right.
Yeah, I would like an actual sleep tonight.
So
not
Tiyana
just a nap.
and Sue are trying to get some nap time on the beach. She tells us because the sand is more comfortable than their shelter.
That is so rude.
And-
I'm afraid I'd have to. Look, guys, can't you go, a few yards down the beach and sit and chit-chat with each other?
I can tune out when people are talking and fall asleep, but
No kidding.
Depends. It depends on what they're saying. And TK's stream of bro, brah, bruh, that stuff annoys me. That's way harder to tune out.
Pulls your focus.
Yes, the incessant bros. It's bro is a filler word. It could be even more distracting than the overuse of like.
Well, it is even more insulting to an older person who maybe doesn't sleep well at night and really needs the rest. I mean, Tiyana kind of went with it, but
Such a loud volume, Tiyana said. That was the other thing. Not only was it the yapping, but it was very loud yapping.
Well, yeah, and I thought it was rude on both their part that they were obviously trying to rest and sleep, and what would have hurt to go for a walk a little ways down the beach?
They eventually did, I guess. Yeah. Sue tells us Tiyana understands. She knows. Mm-hmm. And Tiyana tells us in a confessional there that with TK, she can't get a read on him. There's no vibe. They got that alliance of 4, though, so right now she's running with the big dogs, and so she's good with that.
Well, Sue took it as a lack of respect. It wasn't just that they were annoying. She found it disrespectful, which I think stems more from her age that she would see it.
Yeah, that's a state of mind, though, that's earned. It isn't just given because of your age necessarily. In that kind of scenario, it's different when you're talking about family and stuff like that, or other situations socially where you're going to go ahead and do it out of deference. But she can tell that he's just on and hard charging all the time. I'm sure she's dealt with people like that.
And Tiyana lets us know she doesn't really like him either. But she's in alliance with 3 guys, so she's going to try to suck it up, I guess.
Okay, so back over to Gata, and Sam gets Sierra. It's her turn.
Yeah.
And they're going to go dig up the box and find the idol.
Wow, and it really did make an impression on each one of the women as he included them
Sierra tells us big trust. She's got big trust in Sam right now. And Sam, well, he just nailed it again, right? He had another great line. I saved this for you and me.
Yep.
You're special. He didn't say that part, but that's the translation. And he's weighing it. Should he risk it for the 3 times tribal council? And he goes, no, I don't think so. I'm just going to take the one that's good for 1 tribal council.
Yep.
And then what did you think about his choice that he sprung on her? She wasn't ready for that, right? He tells us he's thinking ahead. Positioning.
Oh, then he would play it for Andy.
What if I play it on Andy?
Yeah.
What did you think
you
of that?
can imagine how I would have been shocked too. Like, what?
She
Play
says
it
in
on
her
Andy.
confessional, not liking it. What about playing it on Sierra?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that told her that it's not just us. You're not necessarily my number one, because I don't want to get rid of Andy right now. So, but when you say that to someone that thinks they're working closely with you, that gives them pause.
Okay, this is a 2-day cycle. So all that was day 4. Now we're on to day 5, and we've got the immunity challenge.
Boy, the reaction.
And some shocked looks that John was gone and not Andy.
Not Andy. That was the big thing is...
Andy was enjoying the extra attention. All eyes on him. He was smiling. Okay, so what did you think of this challenge? There was a lot of elements.
I liked it, yeah.
I liked it too. A lot of physicality and then dexterity for the finish, not a puzzle. So that's cool. Starts out in the water. They got to jump in the ocean. They've got to climb up. 1 or 2 people climb up on this little stand and get a bag of rice.
Heavy bag of rice. And get it to shore.
And they're going to have to maneuver it through the wall. I like that part too. There's this big wall that they've got to climb up out in the water, and they've got to make the bag of rice small enough to squeeze it through a hole that's smaller than the bag itself. So they need people on each side to work it through. So some climb up and over and start. So they have to start working it through there. And then when they get to shore, somebody's going to have to blindly maneuver a key through a maze so they can unlock the door. Then they cut that big bag of rice they've been carrying through the ocean and up the beach.
Yeah, we saw that in the previews, and who was cutting the bag of rice, and it's like, no, don't give Andy a knife.
So they've got to cut open the bag of rice to get a ball out, and then 3 of the castaways will use that ball to maneuver it through a snake maze where they've each got to apply tension on it.
That was new.
Yeah, it's innovating on things we've seen before. So they're using that pulleys and the snake kind of puzzle thing in a different way.
It's a whole new twist too, because you really have to work together.
Yes, so the level of difficulty is much greater.
Oh yes.
Yeah, with 3 coordinating. Yeah, I like that. So this is also reward. There's like a primo fishing gear reward and then a smaller fishing gear reward for second place. And we have Aysha and Sue end up sitting out. With John gone, they've got to run the challenge with only 5.
Sam's the one that carried the rice, and Saul and Rome carried the rice bags. Rachel gets through the maze and gets the key first.
Yeah, she did that really well.
And like I said, Andy stabs the bag and gets the bowl.
Gata out in first. It even surprised Probst.
I know.
Commented.
They're in the lead. So the ones that did the actual last part of the challenge was Sam, Anika, and Sierra. Mm-hmm. They did pretty well together, but I think I really liked it when I think it was one of the ladies said to Sam, "Look, you need to trust me on this."
Anika, yeah.
And
Anika and Sam were going back and forth at each other a little bit, but they had to figure it out. Like Probst said, it's going to take a while to get a sense of how to get around the obstacles because they got to navigate around holes. And
they all have a very different angle, so you don't always see things the same way. Because we've done that, I've seen. You're like, oh, but you're not seeing it over here. You can. It's like, oh, so okay. But anyway, Gata came in first, and Lavo came in second, and Tuku was third.
Okay, what about Ricegate? Sneaky Rachel. She was packing that rice away. Yeah, that was great. Did not ask.
I could just eat, so she should have just eaten it, though I don't think it would taste very good.
No, but that seemed to be the trigger that made her go, oh, I could fill my pockets with this rice.
I could stick this in my pockets. And it's like, no one's watching. Go ahead.
Yeah, just ignore this.
How many cameras are on you?
Row of camera people, yes.
Yeah. Well, somebody had already snuck over there and told Probst.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he actually saw her.
I don't think he actually saw her during the challenge.
Yeah.
He might have, but I doubt it. I think somebody...
That was good.
Probably just told him about it.
Empty your pockets, Probst tells her. Yeah. And he said he respected her attempt to do that.
Yeah, she's like, man.
And said it was funny and a first. So... You're just scoring all kinds of Probst points there, Rachel.
That's right.
Yeah, good stuff.
Rachel the rice snitch. Sneak, snitch, whatever. Okay. Yeah, that was kind of funny. I think I would have tried to leave just a little bit in my pocket. I'm sure he wouldn't let her get away with that. But it was funny.
And then once red and yellow are gone, he's talking to Tuku, to the blue tribe, and he notices that Tiyana's smiling, and she said, "Oh, that's fake. I'm not happy." But TK's got a spin on it, so he's angry.
He was just angry.
Too many smiles.
Over here for losing.
Don't want to associate with these happy
Judgmental
losers.
much? But you could see her facial reactions.
It changed.
She does not hide that.
Yeah.
If she's feeling it, it's there on her face.
Sue saw it, yeah. He
wasn't okay with the losers. He didn't lose. Well, actually, yes, you did lose. So,
Sue's convinced that might be the nail in his coffin, she tells us.
She hopes.
Yeah. I love this, that they showed this next a little bit. When they get back to camp, Sue is just really happy because they're checking for coals. So they banked some coals in the fire just in case, because they lost their flint because they lost the challenge.
Yeah.
So if you bank coals there, if you like cover them with sand, they won't completely go out. And then you can keep the fire going. You can do this day after day after day.
Unless it rains.
Yeah. Well, and you gotta take some extra step in those kind of scenarios. But yeah, and so I was glad they showed that, so they were able to get their fire going again, I think, there.
Of course, Gabe didn't let that slip by. He saw those eye rolls.
Yeah, from Tiyana. Yep.
Yep. And he knew that it was at TK. So, and the things he was saying. So he certainly jumped right on that.
Yes.
Ran with it.
Yep. He tells her no one thought that. Okay, that's not on you. Don't worry about that.
The minute he said, well, then he's going to tell them what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. Okay, now I really want you to go home. When you get that way.
Declared, I'm the leader. This is my mindset.
So then all I can say is, please send him home. Please send him home.
And he walks up with Tiyana and Kyle talking about how she reacted to what he had said.
Yeah, I don't owe her an apology. He wasn't given one either. He's going to go talk her down and tell her what she's going to think.
Yes. Yet Kyle tried to make peace. He tried to set things right and tell him, hey, I think you ruffled Tiana's feathers. But yeah, he wasn't going to have that at all.
Well, and then he tells her, well, next time you just come talk to me. Don't go run off and talk to other people. Just come talk to me.
So there was no apology we were shown.
None that we saw.
Yeah. And then it was just the declaration, come to me if you want to have that discussion. And the question, are we straight? I like Tiyana's confessional where she said, it's really hard to separate those emotions when you're out here.
And, well, not only that, and he's like, we're doing Sue done. She doesn't bring anything to the tribe. I'm like, wow, dude.
Classic declaration by TK after that, too. I'm playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers. Sure thing.
But I didn't like that Tiyana was vacillating between, I should put my feelings aside and I can work with people I don't like and I should do this. Stop shooting on yourself because no, you should go with your gut like she did eventually.
Okay. I think there's some merit
giving her
to her line of reason, though.
Yes, but
sometimes you just need to bide your time.
Yeah, and sometimes you need to just cut off the rotten part.
Okay. All right. So TK and Kyle and Gabe are talking, and they declare we're putting 4 on Sue.
It's same as with he and Rome are just so in parallel right now with this. I'm the leader and I'm in charge, and they're just all amped up because hey, I got it happening.
Yep.
I'm in charge of these people. So
Gabe tells us that's what I want him to think, but so he feels secure.
Yep.
But Gabe's got other plans. So he goes to Sue and Caroline and says, hey, we need to bring Tiyana in, but don't let her know how tight we are. What did you think about that?
Well, that says that she's their backup. She's just backup in case they can't trust Gabe, but she's not primary. She could be in third if TK becomes unmanageable or Gabe becomes unmanageable or even Kyle. But, she's the backup for if they can't trust one of the bros. So she won't go to the other side and they'll get popped.
Well, I thought it was interesting that Gabe didn't want her to know that he and Sue and Caroline were tighter. So he wanted them to present it like it was a woman thing, the 3 of them, and they were willing to go to rocks. So I guess I like that idea of Gabe disguising his role in things to a degree, but the whole we'll go to rocks as a way to pitch Tiyana didn't seem like it made a lot of sense to me. That wasn't the way to win her over, to get her to come in on this vote. So I think he fumbled that part a little bit.
Well, I think he just needed to let the women handle that part because they seem to.
And this is where we get the title, too, from Sue, the epic boss girl move.
Yep. Were you surprised that Kyle was the one that say that T was Tiyana was more like a bro, that they stick together, and that she was like more like one of the guys than the other women.
No, not necessarily. I mean, she told us in the preseason that she wanted to play that way. She saw herself doing that. So she already had her mind in that frame. It probably wasn't hard for her to bring that off.
Yeah, and you didn't mean it in a bad way at all.
What I found interesting was that she was the part of the reason this made it more difficult for her, although something about this sequence is a little off, but I did like her talking about the struggle, that she was worried about betraying Kyle. If she did flip and vote TK out, and she didn't bring Kyle in on that, because she had a connection already and was already seeing an alliance, a longer-term alliance with Kyle. So her making this decision to go after TK wasn't easy because she was trying to weigh all those factors in.
Well, though she eventually decided, she could pull that back around. I'm not
the way
sure
they
what she had in
injected
mind,
the uncertainty when they cut back to Caroline at one point, her saying to Sue, I don't think Tiyana goes to rocks. I don't think she's as committed as we are, is essentially what she was saying.
Well, who really wants to go to rocks? But Sue didn't have anything to lose because they were going to send her home anyway. So sure, why wouldn't she?
Yeah, when you're the target, it actually becomes way more compelling because you actually get taken off the board. If it comes to that, you get a guaranteed stay.
But Caroline, once again, is skeptical that she bought their pitch. Mm-hmm. And she really weighs everything, doesn't she? Mm-hmm. Which isn't a bad thing most of the time. Sometimes it can trip you up a little, but...
Okay, time to grab a torch and get fire. Tribal Council here on night 5. And Sue was asked, were there any natural pairings that were observed as they got to the beach and started working together? And Sue said, oh yeah, there's a bromance.
Yeah.
With the guys on top and the girls on bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So she made it tiered. Yeah, and Probst paid attention to that part.
Then TK tries to explain it by saying, well, but Sue's lives in her own little bubble, basically. And that she's not really initiating conversations with other people. And I thought, that's not true.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe not with him.
Kyle tried to soften it, too. He said, I was bonding with everybody, though. It wasn't just the bromance. I was reaching out to different people.
Well, but then he started to explain things, too, about, that's how you play the game.
You're talking about TK.
TK, yes.
I was talking about Kyle.
I know, but I was talking about TK.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, then they talk a little about emotional relationships, blah, blah. So, Gabe, I liked when he told Jeff this was actually a nice moment for him, was when he talked about, I really wanted to be Indiana Jones. Just give me that a minute, would you?
Probst is using that line, too, in the preseason stuff when he was talking about the change to the sweat versus savvy. Yeah. Is making things more Indiana Jones-like.
Okay.
So I wonder if he took that line from Gabe.
Maybe.
Yeah. I liked Gabe breaking things down. He was doing a real good job here, saying, look, there's social and strategic relationships, and they're not always the same. So when you're having these connections, when you're talking to people, there's 2 basic categories that these things fall in.
Yeah, and that's a good point. This was about the time, though, that I started to, when TK started talking about he really wanted the people to know he wasn't happy. And I thought, well, that was a given. They learned that just as soon as you lit into them.
I always think, thanks, Captain Obvious, when I hear people saying, I hate losing. I'm not okay losing.
And talking about, I want to work with people I can actually trust.
And while he's talking and saying these things and responding to Probst, we see Sue and Tiyana making eye contact in the background.
No, that was Tiyana that said that.
And then, boom, we get some thunder.
Yeah.
Right after TK was talking, the thunder's coming.
I was really hoping at this point that they were going to send him home. So, sorry, TK, but I felt you earned that this episode.
I
So
wasn't sure still which way Tiyana's vote was going when she was asked about assurances, and she said
she wanted to work with people she could actually trust. That
right,
wasn't TK.
needed genuine trust.
Yep. So that's when I got excited and thought, oh, yeah, she's going to do it. She's going to do it.
She correctly stated, you don't know if that trust was in place until the snuffing happened. So
They don't always show what the people say when they're voting anymore, but I liked it that they showed Gabe saying, one fell swoop and I can make your survivor dream
it was
disappear.
what he said before that, though.
What?
Want to see a magic trick?
Oh, yeah.
With one fell swoop, I'll make your dreams disappear. Woo, that
Your
was cruel.
survivor dreams disappear.
That one had an edge to it.
I did not think Gabe was going to play it.
I didn't either. I actually wrote down no Idol's advantages played, and then he stood up and played it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had no idea what Tiyana was saying when she said, trust your instincts. I mean, I didn't know which way she was going. So I like the tension that helped build.
Yeah, and I thought for a second he was just going to play it for Sue.
Yes. Yeah. When I realized he was playing it and I was scratching out and updating my notes. Yeah, I thought he was going to play it for Sue in a dramatic
I'm not sure
fashion.
exactly what he meant when he said he was. Well, I think I'll play it for me, Jeff. I'm feeling a little froggy. Like,
Oh, he said that for Kyle.
oh, all right.
He said it that way. Yeah, he thought Kyle would like that. It's country for Kyle, I guess, in
Okay.
Gabe's version of things.
All right, time to vote.
Okay, Sue gets 2, TK gets 4. TK voted out.
I like it.
Sue says, sorry, TK, and then bing, the grin.
The big smile.
The whole time, too.
Yep, all
She
the way
was-
out of tribal council. Big smile.
And Kyle was struggling. He's like, what just happened? Oh, no. I was
Yeah, he
not
looked
on
like he had trouble
processing.
processing and accepting it.
Well, he knew right away.
Like,
He was
what?
He was not on the winning
Me?
end of that. Yeah.
No, but he was so confident and so sure. But I felt bad for Kyle because he's like, huh?
Right.
He was so clueless.
You're playing catch up in a panic.
Yes. And he realized, oh, it's like it took him just a little bit for it to catch up. Mm-hmm. What happened? That only the two of them and everybody else voted together. He was like, oh,
Ruh-roh.
had no clue.
Okay, what did you think of the episode as a whole?
Oh, I enjoyed it very much.
Yes, I loved the tribe time, the back and forth, and seeing how things were developing and how different people were interacting. That seemed like a lot of really great, rich insights into what's going on in the social side of the game.
They are feeding us what we need for our emotions.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, yeah, they made me want them to vote TK off.
Right.
And then they're making me want Rome to get voted off. And I thought, oh, yeah, that's how the editors get us.
Sure. Yeah.
They feed it to us and we just drink the Kool-Aid right up. And I see myself do that all the time. But I went right with it. I was like, oh, how dare he say that? Let's vote him out. Vote him out. So I'm actually, I'm sure he's a lovely person outside the game. But, no, you were saying all the wrong things. And you just got a little too self-confident. And that is not good.
Way too early in a bad read to think that you're the leader calling the shots.
Yeah.
He got way ahead of himself in that regard.
And Rome was even more delusional, in my opinion.
Yeah, the big difference, though, is he's got immunity for at least one tribal council.
True.
Yeah. So Gabe's is gone. He's without an immunity idol now. Rome has one and Sam has one. They're each only good at the first tribal council they go to.
Yeah, Gabe had the only one that was good for 3, and he used it at the first one.
Yeah. I wonder if...
I'm not sure.
If Caroline calling him out for being the idol hunter. When Probst asked that question, tribal council helped him decide, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and burn this so that I don't build any additional ill will by holding it.
I think, too, is that I can't live with doing what happened a lot in 46, having it in my pocket. So so the other two were probably just as well to go with just one tribal council because of the paranoia.
I got to think I would do that.
I got to play it.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I'll find another.
I can't especially because it's the first time you go to tribe. That's where the lines are drawn. You don't really know where the lines are. You think you do, you hope you do, but you do, and as TK found out, and Kyle, you do not know where those lines are until after the first vote.
Yep.
And then
like
it may
Tiyana
change.
said.
There's no guarantee it'll stay the same.
Right? Tiyana called it. She said, you don't know till the snuffing.
That's right.
Next time on Survivor, Anika asked Sam and Sierra, are you two dating?
Oh, jeez.
Andy says, oh, there's trouble in paradise, and Sam is upset. He does not want that kind of heat. So this is the misperceived showmance that we heard about before the season began that Probst alluded to.
And we have Rome putting on a show for us and
telling us,
I feel like I'm running the game right now.
Might as well rename Survivor to
Survivor Rome. I don't think so. Doesn't ring well, Rome.
Or I thought he said rename Survivor to Rome.
Oh, I thought he said
he's
rename it Survivor Rome.
Mighty proud of himself
for
spearing a tiny fish. It looked like it's about the same size as his thumb on that Hawaiian sling.
Yeah. So
I thought TK was handling it well in his last words there. And then he kind of went backhanded.
And then he took the turn.
Yeah. So he said, well, that surprised me. It was a great move. Can't be mad at it. And then he says, if they don't value winning, they don't value winning.
Yeah. But really, they were wrong.
They were doomed now to never win without him being there. It's risky, but you can tell Gabe's playing a different kind of game.
Yeah, true. Because boy, I sure thought he'd be the first one gone. But
yeah, I definitely had TK making the merge. I didn't see them voting him out.
Yeah. Well,
so things are different in that Tuku tribe for sure.
Yeah.
How about a JSFL update?
I can do that. There were 3 people who lost their USB 24. 68 people lost a safe point. 11 people earned a vote-off point. Congratulations. In the side challenge with 11 points, Jeremiah and Rebecca. With 8, Anderson, Justin, and Robert. With 7, Parker and Stacy. And with 6, Lisa Ray.
I am out of the basement momentarily, at least.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa Ray.
That can shift from week to week.
Yes. Yeah. This is, so far, okay. This is another good one.
Yeah.
And not overly predictable for me, and we didn't have any quitters. That's good. Andy has his footing back under him as long as they're cheering for him.
I'm not sure it's ever predictable for me.
Okay.
Rarely ever, anyway. Because usually, even if I do predict something, even if it happens, it's just so completely different than what I had in my mind.
Or there's enough residual uncertainty that you're not sure it's going to really break that way. Yeah. Until, like Tiyana said, you see the snuffing. Yeah, good stuff. Well, that's our recap. We're looking forward to hearing what you thought about week 2. If you'd like to join us in the next listener feedback show, you can call and leave a voicemail at 206-350-1547 or toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio and attach it, or type up a quick message and send it to us via email at joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com, and we'll read it in on your behalf. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it in that 3-minute range, whichever format that you choose. So look forward to seeing what you think about how Rome's playing, and then what do you think about Sam's choice and potentially playing as idol for Andy? I think it's given us some idea what the pecking order is in that tribe. I think we got some good feedback, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what's going on in the Gata tribe. How did your assessment of the castaways change after this week's gameplay? Who impressed you the most? Who do you think's playing the best, and who's going next? Anything else?
No, just that I was surprised this week that not so much that they set out Sue because she had said she was feeling tired and, the lack of stamina, but that Aysha set out.
Yeah, which means we have to see both of them in the next challenge.
That's
right. It
right.
is true back-to-back across episodes, across game cycles now.
That's
so both of them will have to participate in the next challenge.
So,
Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so. I'll shut up talking now.
Have a good one.